Hi there, you're watching the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma and today we're meeting in the studio and we're playing with propagation. So I have a few plants that I've already propagated and put in water that I need to just change out the water and change up the look. And I have a plant that I need to propagate and put in water. So I pretty much propagate all my plants in water and I just use naturally distilled water, which means I just put water in a watering can like this. I fill this up and I leave it out overnight, and then all the nasties have evaporated out and we're good to use for our plants. I do propagate a couple of things. So I propagated these canes and I just cut the tops off of a cane and popped them in the soil. Two of them took, and you can see this one did not. It's still green on the bottom, but it's black on top. I could try cutting it again just to see if it'll sprout anything, but I kind of feel like it won't since these two are doing their thing and this one is not. So all I would do in this case is just take it down to the green space where it's still living and cut off the dead hard piece. In this case, all I did is put regular potting soil and I just popped the canes down in there and hoped that they would take. So I got a little bit better than 50%. That's good for me. Now, I have a watermark on there. I had a pot sitting here and it leaked and I didn't know it was leaking, and I have a watermark there, which this little table needs to be refinished anyway. I digress. Alright, so I have this little Schefflera and I've been growing it in this vase for quite some time, and you just pull it out here. You can see her beautiful root system. And because I want to do this like little collection of milk glass just to change things up a little bit, I'm gonna put her in this really small vase right here. So I'm just gonna fill this up and pop these roots down. Now, at this point, this has a pretty good root system, and I could put it in some soil, but I'm going to just let it grow in this for a little while longer. Just sort of give it a little bit of room to stretch out a little bit. So there's that one. Easy. Just fresh water. That over here. Alright, so then the next piece is also something that I've had in water for some time, which is this pothos. And it's doing great. I feel like this is getting awfully long. So I'm going to dismantle it a little bit. We have this one. We're just going to put them in this. Move this out of the way. And disentangle this a little bit. Alright, I'm going to put these. So essentially now we have 3 little plants. These root so easy in water, and you can definitely put them in some soil and get them growing into a plant. And then I have this. Here's this one, has little roots. Oh, this is a Hoya. So see, I just stick plants in different places. So this is actually a Hoya, and it got some roots on there. It's doing pretty good. I think because this is by itself and I almost forgot about it, I'm going to put it in with the Schefflera. Because the texture is so different, I'll actually notice it. Alright, so then I've got, let's see, 2 of these. This one's got some roots on there. And this one has a really good root system, but it has, the leaves have a big gap between the roots and the vine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these little nubs underneath water and see if I can get those to sprout roots. So just kind of coil them down in there. And let that be a thing. Right. Oh, there's another little Hoya. And it's not being as successful with its roots, but I think because it's so shallow, the water probably evaporated pretty quickly in that other vase, so it wasn't getting in the water. So we'll just put it in there. Have some more water. All right, then, did I lose my other baby? I cut these little spider plant babies off of my spider plants in the dining room just a few minutes ago. So this would have come from one of the leaves right here and gone outside of the pot like this and created its own little baby. She does not need this to grow roots, but I like to leave a little bit of it on there. It's easier to handle. Same with this one. And then I'm going to put it in this shallow bowl. And we want to make sure that the base of the plant is in water, but we want most of the leaves out of the water. So that's another reason if you hang on to this, it allows it to be sort of a brace. Where'd the other one go? And kind of hold it outside of the water. Like I just let it rest on the lip of the vase so it holds the plant a little bit up. And I just give it some water. This could probably be in a smaller one, I don't know. All right. Now, I'm actually going to put this one in this purple vase. Put it somewhere else. This one's a little bit different. This is a Spathiphyllum that was not doing well. She has had some torture the last few months. So I tried to put her outside on a shaded porch. She still got too much sun and was very unhappy with me. She burned, all of her leaves turned black. And so these are all new growth leaves just in the last few months because I put them out there this summer. And since putting on the new growth, this is actually a new leaf as well since summertime. But I think the pot that she was in was just too large for her now that she's smaller. And she's not liking the water requirements, whatever. So I thought I would just give it an opportunity to grow some really good roots. I pulled it out of the soil to see what the root system was looking like. And it's very puny, which tells me that it wasn't growing very well to begin with, even before I scorched it out on the back porch. So I put it in this water a few days ago and washed all of her roots off. Tried to just make sure there's not any soil hanging out on those roots. And then I'm just gonna put her down in this water. Same with this one. I can take off this spent leaf so no energy is going to it. Same with this one. There's a new leaf opening right here. Give it a little swish. Get all the chunks of soil off of there. Make sure there's no dead roots hanging on there. And I'm leaving these because there are roots on them and they're fleshy down here on the bottom. They may grow more plants. I'm not sure. All right, so then I'm just gonna set her down in there and move that off to the side. It's all dirty water. And just fill this up with water. The spathiphyllums will live in water for a good long time. You just want to make sure that their leaves aren't sitting in water. So I want to make sure that I fill the water up over her roots so those don't dry out. And outside of that, she's good to go. All right. And there she is. I'm actually going to take off this leaf as well that's burnt. Just take that off. That way no energy is going into damaged leaves. So we have a spathiphyllum, Schefflera, Hoya, pothos, and spider plants. Now this plant, leaf in there. This is, well, I have a pothos in here, and then I have a Triscanthia in here. This is in a super cute milk jug vase that we did last winter. And she was hanging up in my kitchen window. Just take the hanger off. But then this doesn't sit up because of the milk jug, so it's just in this container. And then this is what happens with aggressively hanging plants. Will just get tangled up in their hangers. That being said, what happens with these plants is they basically just die at the crown. Not really, because obviously you can see all the beautiful new growth down on the bottom, but the top ends up with all these dead leaves. So either you have to be really diligent and constantly, one way you could deal with these is you would cut this off like here, and then you would just pop this stem back in the soil and it would reroot. And you just have to constantly be on top of it to do that, which I clearly am not very good at doing. So I'm going to just create some more plants, and they look really beautiful in water and vases. So I'm just gonna strip the bottom of the stem so it's nice and clean and pop it in this vase. just gonna go through all of these and do that. Okay. I have several more of these to do, which I have a whole different project that I want to do with my other Triscanthia that I'll share with you soon. I'm kind of excited about it. I'll try something new with them. But for right now, we're just going to do one vase full. So I have plenty to play with. So this one I can actually cut in a couple of places. So I can cut this branch here like this and put that in the water. And then I can take this piece. Oops, this was a flower, so that's okay to cut that off because the energy is going to that flower. And then I can come here. Well, that's a branch. I could come here and pop this piece off and put this in water and take off these lower leaves and put this little piece in water. This is another flower. If you could see the flower in there. Hopefully I could get close. Let's see. You can see that little flower. It's cute. Alright, so we're going to just pop off these lower leaves. I'm going to pop off the flower, put it in water. So you can see there's a little tiny bit of roots, very shallow root. And it had this bit. See if I can hold on to the roots and let them get a little bit longer underwater. I'm just going to leave that just like that and put it in here. This one didn't have this one is how it's, you can see the color differentiation and it's starting to dry out and then it gets fleshy. This part is no longer living, so we can just pop that off, pull off these leaves and put that in water. And let's see, we can untangle this yet. Free! Okay. Alright. This is pretty dried out all the way down. So I'm just going to cut it right above that leaf and take off these lower leaves. Broken leaf. Put that in there. And then I have this guy. Oops. Oh, there's more. Tangled up in there. Okay. One more. Not really need it to grow in there. on the soil by itself. Just put it in with this pothos over here. Okay, and this will get some water. We'll put something else cute in that little milk jug later. For now, the other thing that I want to do, because I want to make sure that the energy of these plants are going towards the roots. And I don't want them to look super messy. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the stems are down underwater. And then I don't want them much longer than the table. So again, I'll just cut that piece off, take off a couple of bottom leaves, and pop this in the water. Let's see where I'm at here. That's probably okay. Can have a little bit of trailing, like so. Let's just clean this up. Okay. Pothos actually don't mind touching surfaces, whereas other plants don't really like touching surfaces, so I'm just mindful of that. All right, and then there's the spider plants. They're doing pretty good. That Schefflera. Make sure that everybody's fully submerged. Use this one. Since it's getting kind of tall, it probably does need some soil, so probably be next. There we go. And spath. I'll do the same thing with these guys. Any of these ones that are just really just too long and they're just gonna drag on the table, take them off. Take off some leaves, put that in here. These ones are there, that's okay. Sure they're all the way in before I cut them off. This one. This one. All right, and then I'll just put water on this. All right, there you go. So a lot of plants can be propagated in water. Don't be afraid to try. I love just if I break off some plant somewhere, even if I don't know if it'll grow in water, I just pop it in some water. I mean, I'd rather see if I could get some roots out of it than just throw it in the trash. And 9 out of 10 times, they'll grow some roots. So a really easy way to get more houseplants into your house by just taking the basically cuttings and putting them in water. I don't fertilize any of these because to me it's just kind of a pain to try to remember when did I fertilize them and make sure I switch out the water the next time, because they don't want to be just like sitting in there in that like a lot of, you know, fertilizer, and they'd have, the concentration would be different than if they were in soil. Anyway, I don't mess with that. I just leave them in water, and I change out their water maybe, well, depending on the plant. The pothos tend to kind of dirty their water, so I generally change that water out once a month. But everybody else kind of goes like 2 months, unless I see some sort of like slimy film going on, or if you get fungal gnats or something like that. That usually only happens if there's decaying plant matter in the water. So that is why it's really important that none of the leaves are actually underwater and just the stems. And one of the reasons we pull the leaves off of the stems is not only so that there's not rotting plant material underwater, it also basically scars those stems and opens them up to allow roots to pop through and develop. So there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different plants propagated in water. And I highly recommend it. And you know, you could do a little collection like this. You could put them all over your house, whether it's just like standalone. They look beautiful and sweet. So yeah, you don't necessarily have to put everything in soil all the time. That's gonna be it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you're celebrating your life, and I hope your February is off to a fantastic start. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.